lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing the graphic novel Virgil, which has writing by Steve Orlando and art by J.D. Faith, Chris Beckett, and Thomas Maurer. So this focuses on the main character of Virgil, and he is this cop in Jamaica, and he's got this secret. Virgil is gay, and nobody knows that about him. This is a very homophobic society, and might be against the law. I'm a little bit fuzzy on that, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. And Virgil has this boyfriend that he's, I think, living with, but definitely together with. And nobody knows, not even the other cops on the force. Until one day they find out, they break into his house, they just beat up Virgil and his friends. Several of his friends end up dead. Virgil barely survives and is pulled out by some lovely, honestly helpful, this group. And his boyfriend is missing. And Virgil just loses it. 4 of his friends are dead. His boyfriend's missing. Virgil got the crap kicked out of him. He's not happy, and he just goes on this revenge exploit. In fact, it's being marketed as a queer exploitation revenge tale. So, definitely the revenge fantasy of getting back at everybody who ever said anything wrong about Virgil or being homosexual. So it's an interesting ride. It's not normally what I would read. There's a lot of violence in this book, like a lot of violence, which is not really my thing. There is also quite a bit of sex and talking about sex, and also strong language, so warning if you aren't really into that stuff either. The thing about this book is that Virgil and the rest of the characters in this aren't particularly like amazing upright citizens. We meet Virgil, and he and the rest of his police force are just beating up drug dealers, and arresting them, but just really excessive force. Also, just confiscating everything, like this scene where they go to the bar and spend the money that they took off the drug dealers, on booze, obviously. There is a lot of sleeping around. We see him go to a brothel and having sex with women, like, not the greatest upstanding citizen. Anybody in this book, other police officers included, which makes for an interesting tale. So when this stuff goes down, it kind of feels like it was inevitable that Virgil was just going to lose it. Like, he's already on that line as it is, and he's violent, so obviously he just completely loses it when everything goes to shit, and he loses his job, he loses his home, he can't find his boyfriend, 4 of his best friends are dead, he's gotten beat up, so he just goes after everybody in this very, very violent fashion. And I don't know what I can show you. Here's Virgil having been saved, and his decision to go take it out on everybody else. The thing is, I get it. I get why Virgil loses it and cracks, and it's very, like, you're sympathetic to him, and he's not great, but neither are the people around him. Like, Virgil's the most sympathetic character in here, other than maybe his friends that we barely see. There's also a ton of, like, I said the language thing, but also there's a lot of slurs being thrown around, especially against Virgil being gay. So a lot of homophobic slurs. There's one of the fight scenes. It's very violent, very bloody, and that's not really my thing. So on the whole, I ended up giving this just a 3 stars because I got into the story and I cared about Virgil, so it's strong, and we do get to see flashbacks. We do get to see flashbacks to his relationship with the boyfriend, and I loved seeing that, and I love seeing where he's coming from. But I'm really not a fight person, and there's so much of it in this book. Some of it looks amazing, though. I like this art. There's also a bit of nudity in here, too, if you're really against that. I love the color palette in this. It's pretty awesome. Kind of more muted feel to it. It's not terribly bright and vibrant. But definitely got some contrast going on here, like the fight scene where we're getting stuff beat up. There are flashbacks, so the change also changes in art with that, which are well done. So this wasn't a terrible graphic novel. I enjoyed it. I just am not in love with it. It's not my thing. I do like the fact that we have a person of color as the main character, but also race isn't a part of this because he's in Jamaica and everyone around him is black. Um, so that's not part of it. It's really just the homophobia, which plays a huge part of this book. I do also love like there's like a love story in this about Virgil and his boyfriend and why they care about each other. We get to see flashbacks into their relationship and how it developed and why he cares about him and how they found each other. And definitely the whole fact that Virgil is fighting to get his boyfriend back. Isn't he's given the opportunity to leave Jamaica and just go on his own and just go to Canada where it's not such a big deal that he's gay. But he doesn't leave right away. He needs to go find his boyfriend first. I love the romantic aspect of this, and I get the fighting thing. It's definitely a strong motivation, but totally not in love with all the violence and fight scenes. They're just not my favorite part of comics. So, hopefully, this was helpful. There is my review for Virgil with writing by Steve Orlando. Let me know in the comments below if you have read this and what you thought of it, or if you're planning on reading it now, or if you have other questions, if I can remember, depending on when you ask me that. This one also was requested by a viewer, so if you want me to review any books or graphic novels, let me know in the comments below of this or any video, and if it's a book that I would pick up on my own from like the library, I will review it. If it's not something I feel like I would read without being asked to do it, I'm not gonna read it, sorry. So like I said, 3 stars, it's decent, it's awesome, it definitely has a niche audience in mind, and I'm not it. So, peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye.